Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in. As in this week's show, we're going to be diving deep with an interesting topic of tuning in to an environment. Also in this week's show, we have the channeling from spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their communications through and wisdom. And then later on in the show, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So without further ado, we're going to crack on with today's subject matter, and that is tuning in to an environment. So what am I talking about by saying that? I'm talking about capitalizing on your sensitivity, your natural sensitivity. And we've all got the gift of doing this. For example, how many times have you experienced this throughout the course of your life, where you've suddenly maybe walked in a family home and you've walked into your living room and you've just felt the atmosphere slightly different, a little bit spiky, and you don't know why you felt that. You just felt a very peculiar feeling. Well, unknowing to you, somebody has had an argument in that room probably half an hour before you arrived, or even days before you arrived into that area there. And what it is, you're picking up on that energy that's still within the walls in the environment within that room. So we're talking about that today, and we're talking about you understanding this level of sensitivity that you have naturally and capitalizing on this in order to unpick any messages that the environments are wanting to share with you. And also environments can tell their story to you, as I've just alluded to there with that example. So in order for you to do this, I would say, if you're wanting to do this, it is a choice after all. Not many people want to pick up on past arguments or incidents that have happened in buildings or environments. Not everybody wants to do that. But if you did, for whatever reason, maybe it's just curiosity that's got the better of you, then I would certainly recommend doing it from a professional point of view. And you can start by listening to some of these techniques that I'm going to share with you in order for you to get the best out of this situation when you're tuning into an environment. So first of all, what I would recommend is protection. Protection, I would say you want to start with that. And you can do this any way which you choose to. An intentional prayer is often good, setting some ground rules in which you want to experience that environment. But first of all, I would say protection. I would get everybody to imagine that you're in a protective ball of light, of energy around your physical body. Now, the color of that ball can be entirely up to you, because we all change, as we know, every single day, every single moment. So one moment to the next, the color ball that you decide to place yourself in of protection can change as your frequency does. So just trust that color that you're being inspired to place yourself in, that protective bubble, the ball of light. And also what I would say as well, depending upon the environment that you're visiting and you're wanting to get more information from, then I would double that protection up by putting, imagining that you're inside an energetic conch shell with the energetic spikes on, and also just put yourself in that protective bubble there. But also, to be this sensitive in order to understand these stories and this energy in the environment, you need to raise your vibration. So in order to do that, you need to keep yourself in a happy state of being, don't you? So I would recommend listening to your favorite music where you can sing along to, that heightens your vibration, or have positive affirming music in the background, whilst you're traveling, maybe traveling to that location or whatever, but keep your energy up. And also, to enable you to do that is clearing the old thoughts, the debris of the day, whatever your day's unfolded for you, not allowing that situation to attach itself to your mind and clog your vision, clog your vibration up. So think in terms of more positive affirmations and positive thoughts there to keep your vibration high. The next thing is preparation. You're wanting, like I say, to keep your vibes high. You're wanting a clear mind. A clear mind, aren't you? And to enable you to do that, first of all, before you even attempt anything, I would say look at the baseline. So I'm talking about how you are in that moment, in that time. What are your thought processes? What are you feeling in your emotions? And also, what are you feeling in your physical body? Just make a mental note of all of these things, and then that will give you a baseline from which to work from. So anything other than those energies won't be your vibration. It will be energy that you're picking up in and around your environment there. The next thing I would say, preparation, is to clear your mind, and you do this by slowing the breathing down and focusing all of your attention on that breath work. So big breaths in. Hold it in the lungs for as long as you can. Allow that air to start to tingle inside of your lungs, and then slowly release that air through the mouth. And just keep thinking and focusing on your breath work. And by putting your attention on the breath work, what you will find is your mind will start to slow down. You'll feel very relaxed, very calm. You'll be very present, and you'll be in the perfect place in order for you to connect with an environment. The next thing I would recommend is either a prayer or set intentions. Now, this is something that I do before visiting any locations. I obviously put all of what I've just described to you, the protection, clear my mind, the baseline check, and then the intention. So for example, if I'm wanting to connect with a building that I'm going to visit, then I will state that in an affirmational prayer. Like, I'd like to focus in my abilities to the environment of whatever building I'm going to, and I'll describe it as I'm stating these affirmations. And then I'd also state what I'd like to experience. I'd like to pick up on the building's story, history. I'd like to pick up on any emotions, anything that is needing to be expressed to come through, and so that I can pick it up and obviously relay that information. So I'd be wanting to state that in my intentional prayer. And then upon doing that, you're ready, you're primed and ready to go and visit this location of your choice, tuning to the environment. Most people will lay their hands on, say, a wall or an object, the gift of psychometry, in order to amplify it. But I would say your entire body is an instrument. So you can do the psychometry, and it does help. It does get a really strong link, a strong connection. But usually, as most of you are aware, when you walk into a building or a room, you pick up on a vibe, don't you? Oh, I like the feeling of this. This feels good. And you get that when you go anywhere. So what I would say is, when you walk into that environment, to amplify the situation, call out, ask out. I'd like to tune into this environment. Can you tell me your story, please? This room, and just call out to that. And after you've done that, just be comfortable about being in the silence. And if you're there with any other parties or any other people, make sure you have that discipline of silence, because it's in the silence that you're going to get these answers, and you'll be able to actually observe how you're feeling. So what you're wanting to observe in that silence is the feelings that you're picking up. You might get that feeling of being watched or uneasy or under pressure. There's a catalogue of feelings that you could be experiencing in any one given environment, as I'm sure you will agree there. But also, you're wanting to observe, your emotions as well. Is it making you feel happy? Is it making you feel sad? Is it making you feel paranoid, agitated, like you want to get out of that environment? Just observe all of these feelings as well. And then obviously observe your thought patterns as well. Remember us telling you about doing the baseline check. So what you will be observing at this point in a different environment are different thought vibrations to the ones that you had previously. So you might get images pop in your mind of maybe a time gone by in the history of that location. So just observe these things and these symbolisms there. And also, if you're lucky enough, you may hear, using your gift, if you are attuned to it, of clear audience, so clear hearing. Now, clear audience happens not only in the mind, but also with the physical ears as well. So it's a combination of the two. So just observe both of those things as well. And with all of that information, obviously, there's a lot happening all at the same time there. So you've got to be paying very close attention. I would say at that point, as you are experiencing each one of those things, so the moment you start to feel something, if you're there with a collective of people, express it to those people. I'm feeling a funny vibe in here. And they might say, well, why? What do you mean by that? And then this is where you can expand and you can dive deeper with the emotions that you're feeling and go into some depth there. And what you will find, the more that you express, the next thing you'll have like I said earlier, like a thought that pops in your mind, maybe a vision or something. Keep that energy moving and express exactly what you're experiencing to the collective that are there with you. And this is a way of that building that environment, telling its story through you, through your sensitivity to the others, in order for you to make sense of that environment. And it can be very interesting, some of the finds that you will pick up on that you had no knowledge of prior to going to these locations. It will be quite phenomenal, some of the hits that you will pick up on. So don't, with me saying that, don't doubt what you're experiencing. Just have that level of non-attachment, have that level of being a keen observationalist, and then just express what you're observing there. And you'll be, like I say, very surprised. But also, like I say, explore with further questioning, and the beauty of this, when there's a collective amount of people in a different environment, you can all quiz one another, such as, if somebody says, I'm just seeing this in my mind. Well, why are you seeing that in your mind? What color is it? Sometimes you need other people to prompt you with questions like that so that you can dive a little bit deeper and get some more information and facts there as well. So if you are doing this in a paranormal event or setting, then I would certainly recommend that you have a means of recording it, maybe an audio recorder or something like that. So then after the event, you can then listen back to that recording. And obviously this is where you can do your research and you can see if some of those things that everybody was picking up in that environment, in that room, tally with the recorded history of that location, that environment there. You'll be surprised of the amount of hits that all of you as a group will pick up on. It's quite phenomenal what we can naturally pick up on. And it's just by doing what I'm describing to you today and having that sort of intentional vibration where you're homing in on those frequencies, those environments more intently than perhaps what you would do naturally, then this is where you're going to get more of those hits and more of those information that you do on the research tallying up with what you're experiencing there. Excuse me. But also there's some environments where you may feel overwhelmed with all of this vibration, all of this energy and information being transmitted to you in that environment, in that moment there. And if you imagine, you're picking up on your emotions, you're picking up on the feelings, you're getting images in your mind, you may be hearing things, you may be getting even smells from the past, from that environment, even tastes as well. So all of your senses will be very heightened when you do this level of exploration on an investigation, for example. So if you do, however, feel overwhelmed and it becomes too much for you, then what I would recommend is you take a break from that environment. Remove yourself out of those premises or the environment into a clearer space so that you can maybe have a little bit of a rest. You can recalibrate, ground your energies, have a drink of water, and, just get your breathing back on track there. This will also help you feel refreshed so that when you're comfortable and ready to do so, you can then, if you choose to, go back into that environment and have another experience there. And maybe you can chip away at the energy this way rather than doing it in one hit. If it is so overwhelming and intense, I would certainly recommend you chip away at it. Or ideally, if there is a team of people with you, maybe take it in turns to go in, have a quick experience, record what you're picking up, and then come out. And then obviously pass that recorder and the second person goes in, and you do it that way. And then that way you can build up a collective of information that you can do the research on later and see if it tallies. It's a very interesting, exciting experience when you allow yourself to go through this. And it can be quite fun as well, quite unusually fun. Also, what I would say is after you've visited a different environment, make sure that you close your vibrations down and make sure you bring your sensitivity back, and also that you have no attachments to that environment. What I mean by this is some of those emotions that you felt. Remember me telling you about the baseline check you did at the beginning before having any of these encounters. What you want to do is you want to check in with yourself after the event and make sure that you still feel the same way you did prior to going into that environment. If you don't, for whatever reason, like you suddenly feel really sad, really drained or whatever, then this is where you need to do some cleansing rituals where you would call in Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy. And again, you would state your intentions, such as, I would like to ask that all of these negative energies and debris are removed from myself and the group in and around us in all directions of time, in all dimensions of time. And so it is, with love and peace, or something to that magnitude. Obviously, you trust your intuition when you're stating this and you're calling in Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy, but that is certainly one way of doing it. Another way, if you're not comfortable about using that terminology, would be to imagine that you're all in a ball of white light afterwards. And in your imagination, hold that vision of this white light engulfing all of you, all of the team members. Again, outside of that environment, don't do it in the environment, do it away from that environment. And then just focus on your breathing, calm yourself down, hold that vision in your mind of this white light, and just notice those tingling feelings around your physical body. And then slowly open your eyes, bring yourself back into wherever you're at, and then just check in with yourself, doing that baseline check. And if you feel okay, you feel back to normal, then everything's safe and hunky-dory and ready for you to make your return journey back home. Safe in the knowledge that you've removed any debris, any shards of energy away from you, so you won't be taking that back with you. So that's what I would recommend. If, I do that anyway, naturally, after visiting any location, if I'm doing a paranormal investigation, or particularly if I'm visiting either friends or family, and I notice a funny vibration in the home and stuff, and on the way home, I do that cleansing ritual in my head. But I would recommend, if you're there with a group, do it, say it out loud, and that would amplify the intention there as well. So with all this being said, I'd like to give you a few examples where I've used what I'm describing to you today in various settings, in various scenarios. For example, I've been to ex-prisons, or prisons that are no longer functioning. and they're open to the public now for either paranormal investigations or, just to look at the history and around the building. So I've been to quite a few of those. And some of the energy in there, as you can imagine, all those people that have been locked up, whatever their circumstances are that led them there, all of those emotions are condensed into this environment. So when I've been there, you're picking up on some of the most horrific crimes and thoughts and vibrations that potentially you'll ever come in contact with. And it's not a nice energy. There's a lot of trickster energy in there. There's a lot of dense energy, as you can imagine. So by doing this prep work before you go in, it's, I would say, a valuable thing to do. So I've been in disused prisons and I've picked up on all sorts of feelings, emotions, like I say. And that's just within the walls. That's before connecting in with any spirit beings or any entities or, vortexes there. That's just the oppressive feeling. Whether there's, some would argue that actually, well, it's a prison. You can expect that, the mind would put you into that vibrational state before you get there. And that's a fair argument with people saying that. But I would say to add to that is when you've done the procedures that I've just described to you, the baseline check, you've cleared your mind, you've got no perceived, perceptions of the environment, you go in as a clear slate. And I would say that energy doesn't lie. So when you've done the prep work and you've gone in there, the energy will just be as it is. There's no sugarcoating on it. It will be as it is. So what you experience in that location will be that location's story to you. But I've also been in churches as well, and disused churches. In fact, churches that are now considered to be rubble or ruins. And I've walked around the grounds of some of those from time to time. And it's quite interesting because you can feel that the intention of what was behind that building, that it was a place of worship. Obviously, again, it's a church, you would expect that, but you can feel a manner of emotions connected to that building and also stories playing out. And again, I mentioned psychometrizing, so putting your hand on the walls of these environments. That to me amplifies the experience. So I've done that, and I've been shown storylines. I've been shown how the building used to look inside before it was a ruin. The people that used to attend there, I've been shown that. I've even experienced hearing choirs singing, literally with my physical ears, as if it was ricocheting off the roof when there's no roof there because it's a ruin. So I've experienced a lot of these weird things like that. And again, this is with linking in with that environment before you've even connected to any spirit beings that potentially are there. I've also experienced city centres as well. And I'm sure many of you have this experience when you go into a different environment, different to your own hometown or city. But when I've gone into a city, I soak up the vibe. I feel the vibe of the people whistling by, walking by there. I also pick up the vibe of their surroundings, obviously, the old buildings. And naturally, I gravitate to these old buildings in a city. So where a lot of people love the up-and-coming new buildings, the skyscrapers and all of that, for me, I don't know what it is, but my natural radar just seems to magnetize me to these old buildings. And even if I've never been to a location before, I'll naturally gravitate towards them and I'll find them without even having an intention of doing so. It's very bizarre. And so that would be the energy that's drawing me to those areas. So I've experienced that, and I continue to do so in city centres there. It can get very overwhelming as well. I mean, there's one particular city that I went to was Cambridge, and it was amazing. I loved it. All the historic buildings there. But for me, it got so overwhelming with the energies of the not only of the environment, the ley lines of the land, but also to add on top of that, you've got all the people there, all of their vibrations. And to me, it got too overwhelming to the point where I had to go out of that environment, and I had to make my way out of the city so I could feel back to being me again. It was a very intensive experience, but I think I will be going back there at some point again, because it's a beautiful place to go. But I've also been to obviously houses, people's houses, and you go into your own relatives' houses, and you can pick up on mood swings or energy or an argument that's been taking place, or, you know, something. It's like a thick soup in the air, and you'll pick up on it if you allow yourself to do that. I've been into disused courtrooms as well, and again, like the prisons, you know, there's a lot of emotion there, isn't there? A lot of judgment, obviously, with it being a courtroom, and heightened emotions, a lot of fear energy, a lot of excitement to some extent for justice being served. So those environments can be a little bit overwhelming as well. There's one that I've been to many times in Nottingham, and that is incredible because they have an old prison which is attached underneath the courtroom there, and the mixture of energies between the courtroom and then you go into the cell area. I mean, as you can imagine, that the feelings between the two are quite bizarre. And there's a stairwell that takes you down into the cells. And the feeling when you walk down that stairwell as well can be very unnerving. As you can imagine, that fear of dread of what's to come and where am I going now? Very interesting. But I've been to villages, venues, pubs, schools. I've been all over the place, and I've observed different things in different locations. My favourite places are the living museums, such as Ironbridge, the Black Country Living Museum, and Beamish. And as many of you may know or may not know, that a lot of these places are rebuilt. The buildings that are on that land are taken away from a different location and rebuilt exactly as they were in that other location to make this makeshift village in time, so to speak. And so you can touch the bricks, psychometrize on that. You can psychometrize on all of the belongings and things from that time frame in some of these buildings, in these rooms, and it can be absolutely amazing what you can pick up. And obviously a lot of these items have been sought after so that they fit in that time frame, whatever building they're associated with. So they're not necessarily original to that location or that building. So you can imagine the mixture of energy, not only from the brickwork where it originated from and with it being moved and re-erected in a new location, the purpose behind it, also all of the authentic paintings and decorating and all of that, the flooring, the floorboards, the wood, was all resourced again from the original building. So you can imagine that, I mean, when I've gone to these places, I love it. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. You know, I go in and I see what I'm experiencing and I ask questions, you know, in my mind to my spirit guides. You know, is that assigned to the building, the environment, the land in which this building is actually re-erected on? Because that can have a bearing, because you'll still pick that up as well. So it can be a massive test for anybody that is sensitive and that you're wanting to maybe challenge yourself with tuning into environments. That is the ultimate test as far as I'm concerned. Go into one of these living museums where they've re-erected buildings from different areas from all over the UK and repurposed them and rebuilt them exactly as they were, but on a different land, on a different location. That can really test your sensitivity and your metal there, because you'll be picking up lots of vibrations. So if you get the opportunity, go and visit some of these places. You'll be absolutely amazed at what you experience. It's amazing. I absolutely love them. So I hope that's given you something to think about and consider the next time when you do feel into an environment and notice these changes. explore it a little bit more with playful curiosity. You'll be quite surprised on how sensitive you actually are and what you actually pick up. Well, now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, where it sees me becoming a vessel in order for spirit to blend their vibration and energies through. As you know, I say every week, I really look forward to listening back to this with you all, as I'm interested to hear what spirit has to say. Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
We come forward with news of great tidings that are unfolding for you. Many of you will see them as a blessing in disguise, because they will be surrounded by lots of leveling up in terms of things coming out to the surface. We're referring to this year of 2024. There's going to be tremendous amounts of changes that will encourage the high vibrational part of you to rise to the surface. Now, this won't be easy by no means, because you will have to overcome the vibration of fear collectively in order to allow this vibration of love and prosperity to flourish through you. Now, those people and individuals that are keepers of the light will find this exceptionally easier than the other parts of the population. However, a lot of those of you that are paying attention will know there's a lot of hard work and graft that's going in behind the scenes in order to keep their vibration sustained and buoyant on this frequency, to be keepers of the light. Now, these keepers of the light will have an impact on society, as they will trigger the lower vibrational frequencies that are being hidden and kept under the surface. And many people will feel uncomfortable about and around these keepers of the light, as they will notice that these shifts in vibration and these old vibrations will start to rise up, and they will cause a certain level of frustration, aggravation, and uncomfortability. But once the individual has allowed that vibration, the old vibration, to be let go of and removed with non-judgment, then they will see the blessing in the situation, as all facets of their life will start to shine beyond measure. There's a lot coming in for the majority of you in this year. However, we encourage you to keep the light burning bright and have that level of optimism in your heart. And you can do this in various steps. One of them is to know and feel your way through life, and when you come across situations that are making you feel slightly lower than your highest potentiality, then this is where you go within and you trust those feelings. And like we said earlier, if it is some of these old subconscious patterns coming up to the surface, a way to stay buoyant in this vibration is to not have any attachment to them. Simply let them flow through you. It will feel like a birthing process as you go through this. As you'll notice, the physical body will feel a lot lighter, both physically and energetically. The thoughts in your mind will be more clearer, more positive. There will be no attachment to any form whatsoever other than just being present and understanding your vibrational frequency in every one and which giving moment. There's also a level of, like we say, vibrating high, to stay in that vibration of doing things that make you feel in that level of vibration. So we'd recommend you doing frequency work with toning, with humming, with singing, anything where there's musical notations, which obviously have healing vibrations interwoven into each and every frequency. We'd like to remind you to trust your intuition on a daily basis, what music you are particularly drawn to on that moment in time, as it will be the healing that you will require in order to up-level your vibration. Also, comedy, anything that can raise a smile in a positive manner, you must understand, is a benefit to you. The way that you look at life will also have a benefit to you, because you, again, will be looking at things that are potentially going to lower your frequency, and you're simply allowing those energies to flow through you rather than staying in attachment. The only thing that you will be focusing on in order to keep your vibrations high and remain a constant keeper of the light is by focusing on that feeling of joy, that feeling of love, and that feeling of freedom, and that expansive freedom which stems from your heart and your heart chakra. We would also recommend that you use trinkets such as crystals or stones, also modalities such as smudging techniques with the Palo Santo wood or white sage, drumming as well, using shamanic drumming practices to help you shift some of these stubborn energies that are trying to latch onto your vibration. But most importantly, whenever you get the opportunity to go out, step outside in nature, that will be the ultimate tonic, as it will lower your blood pressure, it will slow your thinking process down, and it will also allow your breathing to be more sustainable. And in all of these facets, when you're out and about in nature, the colors also will have a healing quality upon you. You'll feel this inclination to walk or sit where there's water, whether that be flowing water or water that is in a still state, like as a lake or a pond. You will find that very, very comforting, and you won't be able to explain it or put it into words to others. You will just feel alignment. So we ask that you make these time and have time to encourage yourself to heighten your vibration using these modalities. Most of you may feel drawn to certain publications, such as books of a high vibrational content. Now, what we would say to you is not every book is written with the express need to be read. Now, we understand that that may sound a little bit unusual for you to hear that statement, but what we are generally meaning is that a lot of books that are produced contain a vibration with the words and the energy interwoven in the words. So merely just holding that book up to your heart space in a meditative process for even 5 to 30 minutes, the choice is yours. Trust your intuition. But that alone will also install some energetic downloads and upgrades, heighten your DNA, and also heighten your vibration, just being in that vibration of the knowledge contained within that book, without even having to read it. You'll see the frequency codes will, with your higher self and your soul, will be absorbed into your conscious energy. So just be aware of some of those things, as that's going to help you overcome some of these unusual peculiarities that are going to unfold this year for you. We ask you not to engage in energy that has an energy of fear or drama attached to it, as this will also obviously lower your light and vibration. There will be many of you that will have to confront these energies, and this will be the ultimate test in staying stubborn, staying strong, and rising and holding that vibration of light and love and healing for all those that need it, without any judgment. The only space you hold in your heart is for love, and so you emit that vibration to those who are in that state of flux and change, and are maybe reluctant to change with these vibrations. You are the keeper of light, and you're here to hold that light. So, with this responsibility and this task in hand, we say to you, as you may have heard mentioned many times before on transmissions of this nature, that there are only two choices, the choice of love or the choice of fear. And with your own free will, you have the choice to fall on either camp, either decision. It is your choice. But we ask you that whichever choice you choose, that you follow the alignment with your soul. As whatever choice you make, when you connect in with your soul, you'll be walking on the path of least resistance, on the path of purpose. And to some it will seem that why would I want to walk the path of fear? Well, exactly, but when you understand the greater good of creation, you understand that there is a level of contrast to help the ascension of the light and divinity. So some souls have elected to vibrate the vibration of fear for a reason, to give that level of contrast. And so those of you that are keepers of the light and are electing to hold that light can recognize that there is this divine need and purpose for you to hold that vibration. Because sometimes without this level of contrast, you wouldn't reach that conclusion. You'd carry on your daily duties unaware that you are a keeper of the light. So contrast can be a gift that keeps on giving. So as we say to you, don't go about your daily business judging and pointing the finger at people, situations, and things that are unfolding right before you that go against your own principles. When you step back and understand the greatest good of all, that everything and everyone benefits from one of all, and we're all here to experience good or whatever your perception is, whether that is good or whether it is bad. You are adding to the collective consciousness. You're bringing value to a situation. You're allowing the Creator to know what it's like from all angles, all perspectives. And so this amount of knowledge is paramount, as it will benefit one and all. But we ask you just to trust and feel the vibration of your soul filtering from you, through you in these times, and listen and then act accordingly. Even if you're in the minority of one, you will always be inspired, you will always be guided on your pathway. And when you understand this level of thinking, of releasement and letting go, you will simply make those alignments and those choices a lot easier than perhaps you may have done in the past. So thank you for listening. Before I go, I'd just like to tell you that we have some frequency tones coming through to help you through these pivotal changes in your timeline of this year. Thank you for listening. I leave you my love and healing, and know that you are never on your own going through this transformational phase of your evolution on the earth plane. Thank you.
Incredible transmission there from the world of spirit. Wonderful to hear about truth rising up to the surface and overcoming the vibration of fear. Holding that vibration of love in our hearts will help us move through this process there as well. And also being present, whether that's going out in nature or just observing where you're at in this moment, will also help you through these transitions. And frequency work, singing, listening to music, and humming will also help you stay buoyant in these changing times that we're all going through. And obviously the toning at the end, I felt that was incredible. It certainly made an impact on my physical and energetic body, making me feel more in alignment there. So we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. So sit back and enjoy. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 19th of February, 2024. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also link into the wisdom of the Angel Tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle a pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. Okay, so here's your card for this week's forecast reading. Now going to link into the vibration and energy of this card for you. Okay, so this week I'm being told to watch out for your gut health. So with your digestive system, I feel as though there's going to be some whirring around that area of the physical body. And I do feel as though there's foods that you enjoy, but your body is now rejecting because it's not offering you any sustenance. It's not giving you the ingredients that you need in your day-to-day life. So watch out for your body actually rejecting certain foods that you enjoy. Also this week, we'll see you taking time out for you. And what I mean by that is you'll just be wanting to either slope off somewhere on your own or gather your thoughts or recalibrate. You'll just be wanting to get that space to yourself this week. I do feel with you doing that, though, you'll be given the gift of greater perspective, as I feel as though a lot of you will experience feeling neutral in terms of your emotions. In other words, you're not investing your emotions in either side of the camp there. You're just feeling neutral, a little bit numb almost. But I feel as though you need to go through this phase of your life in order to move you into the next opportunities that are arising for you. Now, with me using that term opportunities coming in, I do sense that these are going to be quite a surprise for you. And you've been praying, you've been manifesting, you've been doing the inner work, but I feel as though you haven't seen the fruits of your labors yet. However, I'm being told by my guides that this is for good reason, because they want things to come in for you synchronicity and they want it to be a magical experience for you. So rather than you knowing too much, they'd sooner drop it on your lap when you least expect it. That way there's no resistance, there's more acceptance, and you can float on this new timeline. I'm also being told that within this week, you need to stop being hard on yourself, stop pushing too much, and take that pressure off yourself. I do sense that you will be better off focusing upon your internal world than the external world this week. Now, what I mean by that is by doing the inner work, by healing yourself, healing your heart, healing your emotions, and then that way your future self can benefit from the work that you put in. So also I'm being told, watch out please for friends, your friendship circle around you this week, as I do feel as though it is changing, and I do feel as though there's new acquaintances that will be coming into your life. And I'm being told also it's to do with mutual interests and having that respect for you for having those mutual interests there. So watch out for people coming into your friendship circle. And I'm being told to let your guard down, let people in. You'll be so impressed how they understand and get you once you do that. So let's turn over the card for you and go through the card. At the top of the card, it reads 9 of Raphael. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 9, as I feel that will give you some additional support and information at this moment in time to add to this reading. Raphael feeling, well, actually, no, I'm being told to go back to the number 9. They've told me off. My guides have told me off, and they've said, actually, number 9 is also saying to you that you're coming to an end of a cycle in your life. Something's coming to a completion. And I feel as though this is a new version of you ready to be rebirthed this week. The end towards Friday of this week, there's a new version of you being ready to be rebirthed. But this also indicates the end of a cycle. Moving into the feeling of Raphael, what I'm getting with that is I just feel artistic endeavors, expressing yourself. If this is through singing, performing, whether it's art or crafts or even creative writing, or even if you enjoy taking photographs or using your smartphone in order to capture some beautiful scenery. I do feel as though it is talking about that, and it's talking about expression. You need an avenue to express your feelings and allow that creative energy to flow through you. Let's take a look at the inscription at the bottom, and it reads, "Make a wish, dreams become reality, a joyful time of life." What a beautiful message there. So I do feel as though this is what Spirit was saying earlier about remaining neutral so that you're not heavily invested in certain scenarios in your life. So it will allow them to bring forward these surprise gifts and blessings into your life. Again, Spirit don't want you to know too much, because they want it to be a complete shift in your life where there's no resistance. If they were to tell you too much, you would have that level of resistance, and it would stop the amazing abundance that's coming your way. Looking into the artwork of the card, we've got this colour of green around the edging. To me, that represents growth in your life, changes coming in, and like we said earlier, coming to an end of a cycle and rebirthing into another phase of your life there. It's also linking in with the heart chakra as well, and the expansion and opening of your heart chakra. Like we were saying earlier, allow people to get to know the true essence of who you are, and you'll find that you'll make new friendship circles and come into alignment when you start to open up from that perspective of the heart there. I'm also being shown, I'm being told, don't rattle the tree. Now, this is something to do with relationships and not pushing too hard in terms of relationships. And what they mean by that is not winding each other up. Just simply be neutral in relationships there. Looking into the artwork, we've got this, what I would describe as a male energy, a genie almost. So to me, as you can see, he's making wishes come true. To me, that's talking about, I feel, the masculine energy within you, not pushing too hard, not trying to make things happen. Indeed, doing the opposite, stepping back and allowing the universe to work with you and work for you. Because remember, everything that comes into your life is for you. It's for your highest potential. It's for your growth there. So if you think in terms of that this week, when these surprises and manifestations start to unfold for you, there'll be less resistance, and you'll be able to accept and grow with that new vibrational energy there. Also, there's a dog at the side there. So that is what I would call a border collie, a sheepdog almost. So I'd like to research the animal totem of the border collie dog. And what I'm being told it represents for you this week is that you'll have people looking up to you, listening to every word, hanging on every word that you say. So make sure that you're speaking your truth, and also that you're being respectful and not taking things for granted, because people are analyzing you, watching your every move, and they will be emulating you because of how you are behaving in a positive light set there. We've got a beautiful shoreline setting there. It's telling you to have more confidence, be sure of yourself there. Leave the past in the past with your emotions. Don't be embroidered into the past, and instead move forward with courage and with grace, and have that trust that the universe has your back. So that's what I picked up for this week's energy forecast reading. I hope that aligns with you. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen on here and you would like to support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link above or below this video, which is a virtual tip jar, and all of your donations will be gratefully received and used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do in order to help people rise and ascend with their spiritual pathway. If you would like any of my services, private readings, or anything of that nature, go over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or find me on Facebook, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. Join me every Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal, and self-help. Have a blessed week, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.
Well, that sounds enchanting, doesn't it, with all those twists and turns in this week ahead. I do like the fact that Spirit said that they're going to bring some beautiful surprises our way this week, but they're not going to tell us too much, because we would ruin what they have in store for our greatest ascension and to help us on our pathway there. So I always find that fascinating, how Spirit holds things back. And many people ask me, don't Spirit tell you this? Don't they tell you that? And my answer is no, they don't always tell everything about my own life, because if they did, this is Spirit's response, if they did tell me everything, then what would be the point of me experiencing life? Because I would already know it. I wouldn't experience the lessons, the blessings, and the experiences, because I'd know it ahead of time. So they don't tell me everything. I'm here to, like everybody else, I'm here to learn, I'm here to expand and grow. So I'm enchanted, really, to find out what Spirit have in store for us all. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show, and I hope you can align with some of the information, and it gives you a greater perspective. If you do have any stories on the paranormal or self-help or anything spiritual that you feel comfortable in sharing with the show, and you're happy for me to read out on air on the show, then contact me by going over to www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. As ever, it would be amazing to have the interaction with you, and also hear what you have to say and share with the show in terms of your encounters. So whatever it is you're doing this week, have a blessed week. Do it with love, do it with grace, and don't rush into things either. You can join me same place, same time next Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, on www.pulsetalkradio.com with this very show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. Have an amazing week, everybody. God bless, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to glennboddicespiritualmedium.com.